Most people treat discipline like it's a character trait. Either you have it or you don't. And if you don't, well, that says something unflattering about you, doesn't it? That's the story we tell ourselves. And it's completely wrong. Here's what almost nobody talks about. Discipline, as most people understand it, actually runs counter to how the human brain was built to operate. That's not a metaphor or a motivational reframe. It's basic neurobiology. The brain didn't evolve to chase long-term goals or practice heroic self-control. It evolved for one thing: immediate survival. For millions of years, our ancestors lived in environments where conserving energy and grabbing fast rewards wasn't laziness. It was smart. It kept you alive. So your brain doesn't want you at the gym. It wants you on the couch because that saves energy. It doesn't want you writing or studying. It wants you on TikTok because dopamine hits faster there. That's not a character flaw. That's just biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is that modern life demands the exact opposite. To succeed today, you need sustained effort, consistency, and the ability to delay gratification, all things your brain actively resists. So there's this constant war going on. An ancient brain wired to act like a lazy hunter-gatherer, trying to function in a world that expects it to perform like a high-powered computer. When people try to solve this with willpower alone, they're essentially attempting to overpower millions of years of evolutionary wiring with a pep talk. And no surprise, it doesn't work. At least not for long. James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, identified something that changed how I think about all of this. His core insight: the people who seem most disciplined aren't stronger or more motivated than everyone else. They've just built systems and environments that make good behavior easy, automatic, almost inevitable. They're not fighting their brains. They're engineering around them. So let's talk about what's actually going wrong. When you can't stick to something, the real battlefield isn't your mind, it's your environment. Most people believe self-control is an internal force, like a moral muscle you just need to build up. But as Clear shows, self-control is actually pretty fragile. It collapses completely when the environment around you is poorly designed. Here's a scenario that might sound familiar. You decide you're going to start exercising. You're motivated, ready, fully committed. Then morning comes. Your gym clothes are crumpled at the bottom of a drawer. Your shoes are somewhere in the car. The couch is 3 steps from your bed. Your phone is already in your hand. Instagram is already open. Suddenly the choice isn't between good and bad. It's between what's right there and easy, and what's hidden and requires effort. And the brain, as we've established, will always take the easier road. This isn't weakness. It's predictable human behavior. The real problem is that you're trying to change what you do while keeping everything around you exactly the same. This is where Clear introduces the idea of choice architecture, the insight that human behavior is shaped by what's closest, most visible and most accessible, not by willpower, by design. There's a study he references where a cafeteria simply moved water bottles to the front of the display instead of the back. No campaign, no banning of other drinks, just a small environmental change. Result: water consumption went up, soda went down. Nobody forced anything. The healthy choice just became the easier one, and that was enough. Think about what that means for your life. Want to read more? Leave the book on your pillow, not in a drawer. Trying to stop reaching for your phone every 5 minutes? Turn off notifications, put the thing in another room, use an app blocker. Want to actually get up and work out? Lay your clothes out the night before. Treat it like a trap you're setting for your future. Lazy yourself. Because that's exactly what it is. The people who seem disciplined aren't grinding harder. They're just smarter about how they set up their spaces, their routines, their triggers. They understand that when the environment is right, good behavior becomes nearly automatic. Now, even if you get the environment right, there's still the question of how to actually turn new behaviors into habits that stick. And this is where Clear's concept of habit stacking comes in. Honestly, one of the most underrated ideas in the book. Your brain already runs on habit loops: trigger, routine, reward. You brush your teeth when you wake up. You check your phone when you sit down. You pour coffee the second you walk into the kitchen. None of that takes effort because it's already wired in. Habit stacking says, instead of trying to build new habits from scratch, attach them to ones you already have. Use an existing trigger to smuggle in a new behavior. You're not fighting your brain's autopilot, you're hijacking it. After brushing your teeth, meditate for 2 minutes. After making breakfast, write 1 journal entry. After locking the front door, repeat your daily intention. The brain starts linking the new behavior to the old cue, and over time it stops being a decision. It just happens. Why does this work so well? Because the hardest part of any task is starting. Once you're moving, momentum does most of the work. Habit stacking gives you that initial push without relying on motivation, which, as we've established, is wildly unreliable. One important caveat, though: the new behavior needs to be small. Like embarrassingly small. Clear recommends starting with something that takes under 2 minutes. It needs to be specific. Read 1 page, not read more. And it needs to happen immediately after the preceding habit. No gap. Get that right, and you create neural pathways where good behavior becomes genuinely hard to avoid. The decision gets made before doubt shows up. There's one more thing worth addressing, because I hear it constantly. But I hate the process. I dread waking up early. I can't stand studying. So let me ask you something. What if you don't actually need to love discipline to become disciplined? The most consistent people I know don't wake up every morning thrilled about their routines. They don't feel passionate about every workout or session of focused work. What they have is a structure, a system that makes the right behavior happen on the bad days, not just the good ones. Picture 2 versions of the same person trying to build a running habit. Version 1. Vague intention, no setup, full reliance on morning motivation. Result: 9 out of 10 days, the alarm goes off, the bed wins, and the guilt sets in before breakfast. Version 2. Shoes next to the bed, alarm placed across the room, playlist ready to go, training partner waiting at the corner at 6:30, route already planned, post-run breakfast sorted. In this version, running isn't more enjoyable. It's just become the path of least resistance. The decision was already made the night before. That's the whole game. Not loving the process, making the right process automatic enough that desire becomes irrelevant. Clear puts it simply: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So, "I hate routines" stops being a valid excuse the moment you understand what's actually happening. Nobody needs to love getting up early. You just need to make it structurally easier than staying in bed. Which brings us to the deepest level of all this: identity. No habit change sticks long-term without a corresponding shift in how you see yourself. That's Clear's core argument at the identity level. Behavior change that lasts comes from deciding who you are, not just what you want to do. Every time you follow through, even for 2 minutes, even imperfectly, you cast a small vote for a new version of yourself. You train your brain to recognize, this is the kind of person I am. Someone who does what needs doing, not because they feel like it, because that's who they've decided to be. And here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Once the identity shifts, the behavior follows naturally. You're not forcing yourself to act differently anymore. You're acting in alignment with who you actually believe you are. So, real discipline isn't a character trait you either have or lack. It's a side effect, a natural outcome of a well-designed environment, a smart system, and a clear sense of who you're trying to become. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop punishing yourself for not having infinite willpower. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent enough to let the system do most of the heavy lifting. One question to leave you with: what's the first habit you'd redesign, starting today? Write it down somewhere, because the act of writing it is already a vote for your new identity.